Important issue, which I hope all of us will consider. The statistics show that by 2020, 10% of Malaysian population will be retired, 55 to 60 years old. Presently, in Petaling Jaya, 60% of our population is above 45 years old, middle age and above. And as a local authority, as you've pointed out at the National Conference of Local Authority, one of our major functions is to look after the welfare of the people, to make sure their quality of life is as best as we can give it to them. We create a situation for good quality of life for our residents. Now, one of the biggest challenges is we are facing an aging population in Petaling Jaya, and we have done very little to prepare for an aging population. Much of our development in terms of housing needs, and of course in the last few years we have tried to talk about barrier-free, we put in pavements and walkways, but we have still not addressed major issues such as accommodation for old people or people who are of senior years. Now, I remember one of our councillors who represented the disabled community, as well as he was an MBPJ councillor, Anthony Tanasilan, taught me a very, very valuable lesson in 2008, a lesson which I did not know, and after hearing it, it made a lot of sense to me, and I hope I can impart that lesson on to you. He told me that everybody will be disabled. I will be disabled, you will be disabled. At some point in time, we all will be disabled through old age. Old age is probably one of the most cruelest of all diseases, because ultimately we begin to lose control. We begin to lose control of our mind and our body. So at some point in time, if we are not, if we don't pass on before that, we will suffer this. And presently, if one looks at Petaling Jaya, a lot of parents, our parents are getting old, we all know that, and a lot of people's time is spent taking care of their parents. A tremendous amount of pressures are put on the family. Many old people, children have actually gone overseas. They are no longer around, and old couples have to live by themselves. Those who are fortunate enough to have their children there, the burden on their children is quite high. And the reason for this is we're all living longer lives, but poorer quality of lives. You're getting more sick. You need dialysis treatment, you know, physiotherapy, you're slipping and falling in the toilet, you're breaking your hip, you can't go to the toilet. So what we're having in Petaling Jaya now is a widespread old folks, they call it old folks, golden age, a number of words are used, little houses that are running, and if you go to those houses, it's an NGO, commercial sector trying to cope with a growing problem, but the numbers are growing far too high at the moment. Now, we do not address the problem of taking care of people of our older years. There was a tremendous price to be paid. One, the productivity of our own population suffers. A lot of tensions in the home are a result of having to look after or provide 24-hour services to elderly parents or elderly people. Some families have to hire maids, some need two maids because one maid is not willing to do that, and it becomes a very complicated problem. So I think we in Petaling Jaya, I mean, we got a lot of criticism, but as far as sustainable development, we are the best in the country as far as policy is concerned. Implementation, there may be issues there, but as far as policy, we are the #1 leading council. I think every PBT in Malaysia recognizes the fact of what we have done in terms of pushing the margin, bus services, be there, green development, green rating buildings, for instance, public dialogue and discussion. We are the leaders in this, and I think there's an opportunity for us to become leaders in this area of what I term senior and aged care living. And this is something that we should have a policy on, and the first step is to start zoning areas under our planning and development or our local plan, whereby we zone a particular area for what we call senior and aged care living. It can be maybe a limited commercial status, and it meets certain international criteria of what is senior and aged care living. Obviously, you're talking about accommodation with supporting facilities, be there medical, quasi-medical, physiotherapy centers, places for them to actually work. And we should start promoting some of these type of zoning within the city area, as is done all over the world, in Australia, in Korea, in Japan. They're well established, maybe 20 to 30 years ahead of what Malaysia is. And I think we could start that as our first effort to address what will eventually be a huge problem if we do not take care of this situation right now. So I will ask the Ali Majlis and the Mayor to support us. We have existing working groups on local plan amendment processes, and we should start discussion of encouraging the private sector to provide such facilities, by rezoning of lands, but also we cannot forget the people of lower income. We need probably the government also to look into affordable housing, maybe senior and aged care living facilities under the affordable housing umbrella, and to address some of these issues for an old, growing and aging population. Thank you.